We got some huge news on the future of Far Cry, and it is about to get very weird. Now, over the years, the community has been saying the same thing, right? We're kinda tired of climbing towers, clearing out the bases, and dealing with another charming bad guy. The Far Cry formula used to be a huge deal, but now it's basically became a joke. But what if Ubisoft's plan to fix it is even crazier than the problem itself? We're talking about roguelike experiments and new leaks saying that the next game will be literally run on a timer. The future of the Far Cry is looking less like a revolution and more like a crazy fever dream. So we have to decide if this game genius or a total mess in the making. So let's go. So I think we all agree, while we love Far Cry, a lot of us have reached a breaking point. For about 10 years, really since the masterpiece that was Far Cry 3, the series has been running on the same loop. You drop into a beautiful, dangerous land ruled by a cool bad guy who won't stop talking. You team up with a scrappy rebel group, you clear the map, icon by icon, outpost by outpost, until you finally fight the big boss. It's a formula that has made Ubisoft a ton of money, but for many of us, the magic is gone. Far Cry 6, even with the amazing talent of Giancarlo Esposito, felt less like a new chapter and more like a greatest hit album we had heard way too many times. The feeling of discovery was replaced by checklists and chores. Now, the community has been very loud about being tired of this formula. We have all joked about the Ubisoft's open world being a genre in itself, and Far Cry is basically the main offender. While the series used to be known for doing new things, the recent games have felt the same. Ubisoft knows this. They see the memes, they read the comments, they understand that for a Far Cry to survive, it cannot just offer a bigger map and a new villain. It needs to be a huge change, and the first attempt to do just that have been, well, pretty weird. The first sign that something strange was happening to Ubisoft was the DLC for Far Cry 6. After a few normal updates, they dropped a Lost Between Worlds in late 2026. This wasn't just more of the main game, it was a total switch up. It was semi-roguelike experience. Players were thrown into this pocket dimension called Rifts, facing everything from volcanoes to crystal aliens world. It reportedly introduced a new color combat system where you had to match weapon colors to enemies, totally messing with the muscle memory from the main game. It was bizarre, it was experimental, and it was a clear signal that Ubisoft was willingly to throw things at the wall just to see what sticks. But that was just the appetizer. The main course is the flood of leaks and rumors around the next big game, Far Cry 7, which is reportedly being made under the codename Project Blackbird. According to multiple reliable insider reports, this isn't just a new setting and a story. It is a total makeover of the entire experience. First, they are really ditching the old game engine in favor of the Snowdrop Engine. This is the same engine that powers the games like Division and Star Wars Outlaws, so we can expect a major upgrade to the graphics and tech is on the way. I think that would be very cool. But the truly bizarre part of how the game is rumored to work, the story is supposedly about the player's rich family being kidnapped by a conspiracy group called Son of Truth. And here's the twist, you have to rescue them against the ticking clock. Report claims the game will feature a 72 hours in game timer, which translates to 24 hours in real time. Now, insiders do know that the timer is just words in the current build and might change. So, we have to take that with a grain of salt. But it's supposedly always ticking, pausing only when you are in the safe house. You can rescue your family members in any order, and it's reportedly possible for some of them get killed, which will change the story. So, to get that 100% completion ending, you will need to save everyone. To add another layer, a new way to question enemies is being added, where they might give you info, lie to you, or even try to escape. So, we have a complete engine change, a non-linear story, a 24-hour time limit where you can lose permanently, and a major push into multiplayer. This isn't just a new coat of paint, it is a bold, almost reckless response to years of complaints. If you are finding this breakdown for Far Cry's wild future as interesting as I am, leaving a like and that would really help me out, and subscribe. We dive deep into gaming biggest franchise every week, and your support makes it possible. Now, let's get into the biggest question. Is any of this good idea? This new direction could be the best thing to ever happen to Far Cry, or it could be a total train wreck that pushes away its entire fan base. Let's break down both sides, starting with the case for Genius. For years, the biggest weakness for the Far Cry formula has been that there is zero pressure. The villains can be burning the world down, but we are free to spend 40 hours fishing without any consequences. A hard 24-hour time limit completely destroys that problem. Suddenly, every decision matters. Do you spend a precious hour cleaning a base for resources, or push straight for a family member's last known location? This timer, inspired by gamers like Majora's Mask and Dead Rising, could add a level of tension and strategy that series hasn't seen in a decade. It forces you to prioritize. This could be Ubisoft finally letting go of the hand-holding and creating the true sandbox where our choices have real weight. It's a risky move, but it's a kind of risk that creates legend. Now for the disaster argument. This entire concept feels totally opposite to what many people love about Far Cry. The main reason a huge portion of the players love this game is for the chill, open-world power fantasy. It's about exploring a beautiful world at your own pace and taking back the territory piece by piece. A constantly ticking clock is the exact opposite of that. It introduces stress and anxiety into an experience that for many is a way to relax. It's a massive gamble to assume your entire audience wants a high-pressure, high-stakes experience. And you could really trust Ubisoft, the company that perfected the open-world checklist, to pull off a deep story with different parts and punishing timer. This is a design idea that is incredibly difficult to get right. If the timer is too fast, it becomes annoying. If it is too easy, it doesn't matter. If the story is full of bugs, the whole experiment falls apart. There is a very real possibility that we end up with a game that has that restriction of the timer, none of the fun depth, feeling more like a gimmick than a main feature. Then there is the multiplayer push. Ubisoft's history with the multiplayer spin-offs and chasing trends in shaky at best. Many of us still remember Rainbow Six Extraction. The concern is that by splitting focus between a crazy single-player game and a standalone extraction shooter, both projects will suffer. Resources get stretched and we could end up with two half-baked experiences instead of one great one. The developer of Project Maverick has already been reportedly rebooted, which does not give us a ton of confidence. It feels like a publisher desire a long-term money-making game could ruin the feel of the single-player experience we fell in love with. So, where does that leave us? Far Cry is standing on the edge. One side, there is a future where Ubisoft's weird gamble pays off big time, a future where Far Cry 7 redefines the open world genre with a tension and replayability, becoming a modern classic. On the other side, there is a disaster waiting to happen, a future where the restrictive timer makes a long-time fans angry, a complicated story crumbles under its own weight, and a forced multiplayer focus ruins the identity of the franchise. It is a future where Ubisoft its despite attempt to break the formula, create something that pleases no one. Personally, I find myself feeling kinda hopeful the series despitely needs a change.